Hello there, Puretsu Pizza Power here with episode 2 of the series that we are going to call WCW 1992 Dangerous Days. I think that Dangerous Days tag is appropriate given that the Dangerous Alliance are going to be a big factor in 1992 and who knows, potentially beyond. And Dangerous Days also refers to the fact that we're in tumultuous times, especially when our World Heavyweight Champion Lex Luger is one foot out the door and he has terrible morale issues. He is not a happy man at all. So that is certainly not where you want your World Heavyweight Champion to be. And we are going to start off our first lot of shows under the new leadership of Eric Bischoff. We're going to start off with Power Hour shortly. But before that, I would like to just take a moment to highlight a few things that I failed to overlook in episode 1 of the series. So let's get to that now. Let's have a look at our figurehead. So our figurehead is obviously Sting. Other potential options are Lex Luger, which would be an absolutely terrible idea right now, given that he's pretty much guaranteed to be leaving us. Ravishing Rick Rude and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So I would say Sting has no danger of losing that figurehead position anytime soon. And looking at our product is NWA Evolution. Classic sports entertainment style, so in-ring action is appreciated, but the fans want some soap opera storyline and angle elements too. And for our events, it is 80% matches, 20% angles. That seems an accurate ratio. That seems very accurate to WCW at the time. And TV is a little bit more in favour of angles because that's 35 angles and 65% matches. One thing that does concern me is the backstage area. Morale is not great. There are a few bad apples amongst the bunch, as you can see in this big list of red here. Ole Anderson, negative. Paulie Dangerously amongst the negative list. Big Van Vader, mildly negative, which is not good really when he's a guy that I have plans to showcase. And Abdullah the Butcher is a negative influence. And not surprisingly, the total package is a total package of negativity because he's not spreading joy in the locker room area. And Dusty Rhodes and Ole Anderson can't get on with each other. They don't like each other, but they are united in having hostility towards poor Z-Man Tom Zenk. I don't know what Tom Zenk did to upset them, but he is not in favour with either of them. Size-wise, we are a medium company. We are number 2 in the world. We're hot in the southeast and we're hot in the mid-south and the mid-Atlantic. We want to raise the other areas, obviously, in the United States. Popularity in Canada is definitely something we can work on, though we have got TV in Canada, as I'll show you in a moment. Mexico, around the same. British Isles, we have TV in the British Isles. Popularity in Japan is okay, probably because we've got the working relationship with New Japan, so they are familiar with our talents overseas because of that. Europe, not the greatest of popularity. Oceania and India is terrible popularity. But primarily, we want to focus on the United States, keeping where we're at, hopefully expanding the popularity in these other areas that are, the Great Lakes, New England, Southwest, Tri-State, Puerto Rico, Hawaii. Tri-State might be hard to crack because obviously that's key Titan territory. I would like to build on the relationship and the popularity with the UK. Definitely want to try and get some more TV coverage and tours in the UK if we can help it. And Japan is very important because I definitely want to keep the relationship healthy and intact with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So let's have a look at our relationships. So we have a healthy relationship with New Japan. We also have a good relationship with the United States Wrestling Association out in Memphis. And our relationship with the World Wrestling Federation is obviously lava hot hatred. That best describes the relationship with World Wrestling Federation. And looking at our alliances, obviously we are still with the National Wrestling Alliance, and we have some great partnerships because of that. We have a partnership with a very new company in its infancy out in Philadelphia, Eaton Championship Wrestling. Tiny company, they're only about 29th in the world popularity, but let's see if this little engine can build up and have an extreme popularity spurt. Who knows? One to watch. Speaking of two promotions to watch, we've got relationships with the Ladies Major League Wrestling and Ladies Pro Wrestling Association. As I expressed in episode 1, I would like to start a women's division here in WCW at some point. Not straight away, but not too far into the future. So relationships with both of those companies could be very beneficial to us. New Japan Pro Wrestling is the relationship that I would say is the most important to us. Definitely want to keep that relationship strong and healthy, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we have a great back and forth working relationship with New Japan for years to come. Let's just see about that. And we also have relationships through the alliance with the NWA, with NWA New Zealand and Pacific Northwest Wrestling. And in terms of our broadcasting, TBS carries our events and Turner Premier. And for TV shows, TBS carries all 3 of our TV programmes here in the United States. And in the UK, we have Power Hour getting coverage on ITV. And in Canada, Power Hour is broadcast by RDS, and they have big coverage in Quebec. Now, looking at that, I would like to expand UK television coverage and would like to look at getting some kind of a TV deal in Japan as well. That would be interesting. And can't forget Mexico either. So that's definitely things we want to expand on over time. Let's see how we go there. We don't have a developmental company, though we do have training facilities in the WCW Power Plant. Not sure at this moment in time. I'll have to have a look. I'm not sure. Would Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker be running the Power Plant at that point in time? Not sure yet. But we have got the Power Plant active, has been active since January 1989. So there we go. So with that all taken care of, we're now going to rock and roll, get our action underway with our first episode of WCW Power Hour. Okay, so we're going to be having Power Hour in Knoxville. And backstage before the show, Big Van Vader approaches and he tells us he wants a pay rise of $240. And he makes it clear that if we don't accept, he's going to quit the promotion on the spot. Cheers, Vader. That's really good of you. So he's definitely living up to the mercenary personality type. Vader, I will accept. He is getting massively popular. He's a big deal over in Japan, and he is a guy that we could do huge things with here in WCW. So yeah, I will agree to his terms. So okay, done, Vader. Power Hour is underway, but first of all, we start the action at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum with some dart matches. Big Josh defeated George South in the first via submission at 5 minutes 47. Didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling, but that's okay, just a dart match. Big Josh seemed to be off his game. Next, we had a terrible pre-show match. That's what I expected with these two. Arachnaman defeats Bob Cook via pinfall. 5 minutes 46 seconds. Side Russian leg sweep gets the win. And these two didn't click at all, and it showed in their performance. Arachnaman got no plans for this character whatsoever. He's just going to be a guy that is a jobber to the stars, really. So I just thought I'd give him a win in a dart match because he ain't going to get wins otherwise. Starting out our actual show, and we start with a hot 72 rating. The crowd are hotter, and the show opens up with Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone wishing us a happy new year. They welcome us to Power Hour, and they tell the fans that tonight's main event will see the natural Dustin Rhodes face off with beautiful Bobby Eaton. They reveal that Sting has recorded a message for all of his fans to start off 1992, and that message will be played now. So we then see a pre-taped video shot on the beaches of Venice. Sting wishes all of the little Stingers a happy new year, and he promises that with the support of the Stinger Squadron, who never let up with supporting him with the loud cheers, the signs and the letters they write to him, he's more fired up going into 1992 than ever before, and he promises the fans two things this year. He'll play his part in eradicating the Dangerous Alliance, which he calls a cancer to the WCW roster, and most importantly, he'll settle things up with the total turncoat Lex Luger and become a champion that the fans can be proud of. Sting says he will become the next WCW World Heavyweight Champion. So, great little segment there. Not only did it get us hyped up for the main event of Beautiful Bobby of the Dangerous Alliance taking on the Natural Dustin Rhodes, but we got a nice promo to kick off the year from Sting with his intentions for the year being made clear. So, great start to the show. Moving on. Decent match. Flying Brian Pillman defeats Richard Morton, who has his manager Alexandra York at ringside with him. Pillman got the win via the Air Pillman at 8 minutes 20 seconds. Now, during the match, we had Thomas Rich interfere to try and help, but unfortunately his plan backfired and he ended up hitting Richard Morton, and his actions led to Morton's loss. So that got a decent enough rating, 66, and it kept the crowd hot. After the match, Richard Morton and Thomas Rich, they get into an argument, with Morton feeling that the botched attempt of support from Thomas Rich helped lose him the match to Brian Pillman. While things didn't turn physical between the two, the tension was evident. Both men were distracted from the issues with one another when they turned and noticed that Alexandra York had walked out on both of them. The two men then put their differences aside momentarily and they head up the aisle in pursuit of Alexandra, calling out to her, but she doesn't turn around. She doesn't seem to want to talk to either of them. So, some interesting developments here. 48 segment rating, and the crowd is still hot. Next up, we have a video package highlighting the new WCW Light Heavyweight Champion, the Japanese sensation Jushin Thunder Liger. The video has highlights from his matches in New Japan as well as from his bouts in WCW, placing the heaviest focus on his recent win over Flying Brian Pillman in December of 1991 in the match that saw him become the light heavyweight champ. So a little build for, Liger's momentum here. Didn't do that great of a rating of 39. So the crowd's still hot though, so that's good. Next up, we have Cactus Jack taking on Rocky King. Now, Rocky King is not a guy who is on our roster. Before the show, he asked if we had anything for him, and I thought, yeah, we'll give you a chance to be an enhancement talent for the night. So, decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Cactus Jack defeated Rocky King 5 minutes 43 by pinfall, and 51%. Crowd still hot. Cactus Jack with a high in-ring performance, 64. And Rocky King, not sure if we'll use him again. It depends if he shows up and asks. But that did a serviceable job, I would say. Oh, good segment rating here, 73%. So we have a live edition of the Ross Report with Jim Ross bringing out to the podium one half of the WCW World Tag Team Champions, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So Ricky Steamboat discusses a number of things in this segment. Most of all, he discusses that he's supporting Dustin Rhodes tonight and he hopes he gets a win over Beautiful Bobby Eaton, and he also hopes that there's going to be no shenanigans from the Dangerous Alliance. He discusses the Medusa factor. He says that Medusa she's been becoming more frequently involved in matches involving Dangerous Alliance members, and he's saying something needs to be done about that. He also says that it's important that he and Dustin Rhodes keep the WCW Tag Team Championships away from the Dangerous Alliance, and Ricky Steamboat says he has intentions of challenging Rick Rude for the US Heavyweight Championship. So Ricky Steamboat has got a lot on his case there, because not only does he want to remain WCW Tag Team Champion, he's also making it public that he is looking for a title opportunity for the US Heavyweight Championship against Rick Rude. So interesting developments there. A 73 rating, and the crowd's hot, which is what we like to see. So we have a tag team match that has a decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling. PN News and Van Hammer, two men with musical themed gimmicks. They defeat the team of Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker and Rip Rogers when PN News pinned Rip Rogers with a broken record. Poor in-ring performances really here from all four guys, and this brought the crowd's mood down, unfortunately. And the crowd didn't have any investment in any of these guys, as it's clear to see from the ratings. So this match brought the show down a touch. After the match, we have a 40% segment rating, and we have Missy Hyatt entering the ring. She approaches the victorious duo of PN News and Van Hammer, and she asks if the rumours she's heard are true, that the two of them plan to form a full-time tag team. Van Hammer confirms the rumours. He says that even though he and PN News have different styles of music that they love, he's invested in the heavy metal lifestyle, while PN News is all about the hip hop. They have a shared respect, a shared love for the energy of music, the energy of wrestling, the energy of competition, and they also enjoy and appreciate the fans. And they think they have a great blend, and they can come together and climb up the charts of tag team competition, and they dub themselves the Music Masters. PN News then entertains Missy with a rap. Missy says that she's given some thought to returning to managing in 1992, and she's on the lookout for a client or clients, and she'll be watching the Music Masters closely. So yeah, not sure whether this is going to be an idea that pays off in any way, but it just seemed like a no-brainer really to put Van Hammer and PN News together. And I have got a musical themed storyline that's going to involve both of these two. And as for Missy Hyatt's allusions that she might be entertaining getting back into the managerial game, watch this space regarding that one. 40% rating. Next, it's our main event, a 67% segment rating. Got the crowd buzzing, which I'm pleased to see, and the crowd is hot and rising. Decent match. Dustin Rhodes beats beautiful Bobby Eaton, just short of 10 minutes, when beautiful Bobby Eaton intentionally got disqualified after interference from Medusa. And Medusa's interference was put into play because Dustin was distracted, because prior to Medusa's involvement, the US Heavyweight Champion Rick Rude walked out to ringside. He stepped onto the apron, made it look like he was going to get involved and interfere, when actually it was Medusa sneaking up behind, while manager Paulie Dangerously had the referee distracted, so the referee didn't see the interference straight away, but he did see enough to call for the DQ. But it seems that the Dangerous Alliance, this was an intentional disqualification. This was all a plan. They didn't mind throwing the match. So after the bout, we have Ricky Steamboat rush out to the ring because he's helping Dustin Rhodes, who is being subject to a beatdown from both Bobby Eaton and Rick Rude, who has now stepped into the ring. And Medusa and Paulie Dangerously, they're watching from the sidelines. Unfortunately, the planned save backfires because the 2-on-2 soon turns to 3-on-2 because the enforcer Arn Anderson soon hits the scene. The Dangerous Alliance then have the 3-on-2 advantage, with both Dustin Rhodes and Ricky Steamboat left laying by the trio of Anderson, Eaton and Rude. The US heavyweight champion Rick Rude then leaves the ring and watches from the outside with a gleeful Paulie Dangerously and Medusa. Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton continue to lay kicks into Steamboat and Rhodes, and then they make it clear with their motions that they intend to be the representatives of the Dangerous Alliance that'll next challenge Rhodes and Steamboat for the World Tag Team titles. So the Dangerous Alliance have definitely made an impression here. 70% rating. Angle got the crowd hotter. White hot heat by the end for this angle, which is a good way to end the show. Medusa looked lost out there, which is unfortunate, and the commentary team of Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone did their job. So let's see what our rating was for the show. A 67% rating. Not a bad start, I would say. And that is Power Hour wrapped up. And now it's time to get underway with our first edition of the year of World Championship Wrestling. And it is being held in front of 6,500 in the Knoxville Civic Coliseum. We have a pre-show bout with a decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling. Johnny B. Bad defeated Pat Rose via pinfall with a wild thing. Johnny B. Bad had an in-ring performance of 42. Would definitely like to get more out of Johnny B. Bad. He is somebody that I would like to use. Was a fan of Johnny B. Bad, Mark Miro in reality. Let's see what we can get out of him going forward. But yeah, I mean, it was a pre-show bout. We will give him more chances to shine like on our shows. But I have got a storyline in mind with Johnny B. Bad. But when he was only 2 more in performance than Pat Rose, who is an enhancement talent, it's I would be liking to see more from Johnny B. Bad. Moving on to the TV show, and we have a 63 rating with an interview from Jim Ross, and his guest is Harley Race. Harley Race warns Sting that after seeing the video that aired on Power Hour, he thinks Sting will live to regret making promises to his fan base that he's not capable of keeping. Because when it comes to the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, it won't be leaving the waist of the man he represents. The man who has already surpassed Sting in every way, and that's the total package, Lex Luger. Harley Race says that tonight he'll be watching another of his representatives, the mighty Mr. Hughes, as he lays waste to his unfortunate competition, which will be Big Josh. Race then throws out a hint that he'll be revealing a new representative in the very near future, as a new year means new contracts. Race says that unlike so many other managers in the world of wrestling, and right here in WCW, he's actually laced up a pair of boots and he's been to the very top of the sport. And many of the best wrestlers in the world seek him out and crave his unique guidance to get them to that same level. So, decent segment there, and it not only furthered Lex Luger's Sting storyline, but it planted some seeds for further developments regarding Harley Race. So a 63% rating there gets the crowd simmering. Harley Race thinks he'd be better off without Mr. Hughes as his manager. Yeah, we will probably change that setting because he's kind of like a bodyguard to Harley Race, but I think we will tweak that going forth. So we start our in-ring action on TV with a title match. The WCW World Television title being on the line as the champion, Stunning Steve Austin of the Dangerous Alliance, successfully retains the title, defeating the Z-Man Tom Zenk in 13-13 via pinfall following a stun gun. Paulie Dangerously did some good work at ringside, and there was no Dangerous Alliance shenanigans in this match. Steve Austin won clean, 59 segment rating. Even though Austin did win the match clean, he did subject the Z-Man to a post-match beatdown. Seeing this, Barry Windham rushed out to the ring from the back to make the save. As Austin retreated from the ring and left the ringside area in haste alongside Paulie Dangerously, he forgot his WCW World Television Championship, leaving it on the canvas of the ring. Barry Windham looked down at the championship, and with a smile, he picked it up and threw it over his own shoulder, which got a loud cheer from the fans. Austin and Dangerously, they looked on furious from the safe distance. And we've set something up there. Barry Windham potentially making it apparent that he could be looking to challenge for the WCW World Television Championship. So something a brewing there. The 62% segment rating. The crowd is still simmering. And then in our next match, we have Big Josh taking on Mr. Hughes. Decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, which you would expect from these two. Mr. Hughes defeated Big Josh by pinfall, and it was a good effort from Big Josh, but there was interference. Terence Taylor, for some unbeknownst reason, came in from the back and attacked Big Josh when the referee wasn't looking, allowing for Mr. Hughes to pick up the win following a power slam. So Hardy Race did some good stuff at ringside. Big Josh was off his game, unfortunately. Mr. Hughes actually had the better in-ring performance with a 46 rating. So our commentary team tonight, by the way, is Jim Ross and Magnum TA, and they are doing a good job. So why did Terence Taylor attack Big Josh? What's that all about? We will find out in times ahead. Next up, we have the WCW Patriots, the team of Firebreaker Chip and Todd Champion, and they would like to get back into title contention to even things up with the Young Pistols and maybe get the titles back from the Young Pistols that they lost in the latter part of 1991. And in what I would say was an upset, the Patriots defeat the team of Ricky Morton and Tommy Rich in 7 minutes 39 seconds when Todd Champion pinned Thomas Rich via a fast roll-up after a bad miscommunication between Thomas Rich and Richard Morton. And Alexandra York, the manager of both Rich and Morton, we saw that she walked away from them both on Power Hour. She, once again, following this result, walked out on Morton and Rich, and they had tensions after this match. Things are clearly not right in the remnants of the York Foundation, so watch this space regarding things there. Alexandra York did do some good work at ringside. Todd Champion and Firebreaker Chip showed excellent chemistry teaming together, and Rich and Morton got a tag team specialist bonus, so good stuff. But yeah, I'd say good stuff, but it didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling ratings, so serviceable, I guess. Moving on, we have a backstage interview conducted by Magnum TA with Flying Brian Pillman making his intentions on regaining the Light Heavyweight Championship from Jushin Thunder Liger clear, saying that Liger is a brilliant talent and he's not underestimating how brilliant Liger is, but Brian Pillman, pound for pound, bell for bell, is the best, and he won't make the same mistakes he made in their last encounter. He will be sharper, he will not be underestimating Liger, and he says that Liger, as good as he is not ready for this new side of Brian Pillman, this new edge that he's unleashed. And Pillman says he knows the extra edge he needs to bring next time he faces Liger. So he says, Jushin Thunder Liger, put that Light Heavyweight Championship on the line against me, and I will bring that championship back where it belongs, to the United States. So 65% rating. The crowd's still simmering. Gained heat, the Brian Pillman Jushin Liger feud, which is good, and Brian Pillman enjoyed the freedom of going off script and perform well, so good stuff. 62% rating next for a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling. Ron Simmons defeated Diamond Dallas Page via way of a spinebuster, and the pinfall followed at 9 minutes 43 seconds. Good stuff there, especially from Ron Simmons. Following the bout, we have an interview conducted by Tony Schiavone with the victorious Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons says that with all due respect to Sting, he's not the only man that Lex Luger should be worried about when it comes to defending the World Heavyweight Championship, because 1992 is going to be the year where Ron Simmons shows just what level he belongs at in the singles ranks here in the WCW, and that's at the very top level. Ron Simmons dares any champions to have the guts to step to Ron. So Ron Simmons making some bold statements there, and he's shooting right for the for the top prize in what he's talking about there. So interesting development for Ron Simmons. We'll have to see where that goes. Ron is definitely somebody that I want to build up and take to the highest levels we possibly can. But to be talking about challenging Lex Luger at this point is probably a move that many wouldn't be expecting from Ron right now. So a very bold and brave move there from Ron Simmons. And even though he's got respect for Sting, he has told, he's put it out there that Sting is not the only guy that people should be considering as a potential contender for Lex Luger. 57 segment rating. And we have a decent match, our final in-ring action of the show. The Steiner Brothers defeat the Fabulous Freebirds in 14 minutes 41 when Scott Steiner finished Jimmy Garvin off with a Frankensteiner. So the crowd was buzzing at the end of this one, hot and rising, that's good. Rick and Scott delivered the goods as a team, as you would expect, as did the Freebirds, as you would expect. So that did the job. Pleased with that one, a 62% segment rating. And to close the show, we have a very strong segment, 73 segment rating. It is the Dangerous Alliance all cutting a promo. So we have Paul Lee joined by Ravishing Rick Rude, Medusa, Beautiful Bobby and Arn Anderson. The first part of the promo is Paul Lee doing the talking, and he's saying that Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, and Beautiful Bobby Eaton, they put the moves on Dustin Rhodes and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on the Power Hour, left them laying, and they are going to be the two men that will bring the tag team gold back to the Dangerous Alliance. So that was the first part of the promo, and then Paul Lee handed the mic over to Ravishing Rick Rude, and Rick Rude put his attentions on discussing Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, saying that Ricky Steamboat has got some high opinions of himself and a real nerve to be talking about wanting a US Championship shot when he's got his hands full with Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson in trying to keep the tag team gold. And he said by the time that Eaton and Anderson are done with Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat won't even be able to think about coming for his US Championship. He'll be too busy mourning the loss of his tag team championship. So, multiple threads there going on. The angle got the crowd hotter. Rick Rude did a masterful job of improvising his interactions with the crowd, and Paul Lee was brilliant working without a script. So, very happy with that segment, and the crowd was white hot by the end of it. So, a good way to close the show. Let's see what our overall rating was. I'm not quite sure how this one is going to go overall. Let's have a look. Ouch. This show lost us popularity in 6 regions. That is not what we wanted to see. An overall rating of 63. So, some of our matches, we need to have delivering a little bit more. And as you can see, the show finished strong with the segment at the end. I was hoping for the Harley Race promo at the beginning of the show to get a little bit more than it did. So we definitely need to up our game. So yeah, it's week 1 though, and week 1 can always be a little tough. So we will take things forward going from there. So that was World Championship Wrestling, and we will be back with more action soon.